Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nuggets News. Today we're going to circle back with an old friend of the channel, and that is JP from Canya. How you going, mate?
Hey Alex, good to catch up again.
So, what's been going on in the year since we first caught up for Canya?
Look, it's been a epic year. I think we could all say that from the market's perspective, projects, the dynamics of the landscape. But yeah, our team has been building. We've been trying to pursue a good protocol to build on and a good balance between the technology and the user experience side. Along the journey, we've had a lot of our assumptions challenged about how much of our users want the platform to be decentralized versus usable. So we had to undo a few things at one stage there. And yeah, it's just slow going. But we are seeing some good uptick towards the end of the year. And as I think I've seen you mention on Twitter a few times, what we're seeing now is the core group of people who will see this bear market out and then they're here for the long term. So that's who we're focusing our attention on right now.
And as far as the gig economy, do you think people's awareness of that has progressed in the last 18 months since you guys sort of started your mission, and things that we're seeing in France and Venezuela or any country where these workers are saying, hey, we're getting paid in this currency, and then it might be worthless whether it's months or years down the track?
Yeah, definitely. Your point about Venezuela, there is a lot of people trying to send Bitcoin back to Venezuela because it preserves value far better than the native currency. And even buying Bitcoin all-time high has preserved more value in Venezuela than staying in cash. So that's a big deal over there. We've also seen things like PayPal increase fees from our other platform, Bounty Source, which has had a measurable impact on the ability to pay out to bounty hunters. And we've seen a general wake up from the realization that platforms and such as Upwork and Uber and Airbnb don't provide that much value in the middle. And why do they get 20-30% of that cut? So there's a general kind of awakening of the inefficiencies of our current system. Your point about Paris and the riots over in France is also very interesting. From a couple of perspectives. One, it is a decentralized movement. There's no leader. So the government has had a hard time to negotiate with the movement with no leader. So that kind of alludes to perhaps how Bitcoin could arise in the next 5 to 10 years, and also how the inefficiencies of representative democracy and the lack of a sound money is all kind of perfect storm.
Cool. So let's dive into the changes that you've had to go through in the past year, and then we'll dive into what's going to happen going forward as well.
Yeah, so January, February, March we found a lot of community management. There's a huge expectations post the listing and post the all-time high. And that was really, for us, really distracting because we spent half our time actually in the community as opposed to developing and building. And it was very, very distracting. We kind of set up a happy equilibrium between that from about May, June onwards. When we first shipped our product, which we thought our community would love, it was UPort login, so like no Facebook login, and a decentralized database as well, which had performance issues. And our users just couldn't understand it. There was just too much of a cognitive leap to enter. So we spent June, July ripping all that out and replacing it back with Facebook login, Google login, changing back to Google Cloud instead of using a heavy IPFS and Orbit DB approach. And then we really focused on our user experience assumptions from July onwards, including new ways to log in with some of our decentralized partners, which have done a better job than we did back in March. And from there, we've just seen a gradual uptick in users and providers who are joining the platform and bouncing through the onboarding flow, adding their Ethereum addresses and onboarding into the cryptocurrency ecosystem. We also have had our challenges around fiat on-off ramps. At the moment, it's almost impossible to get fiat into crypto without a minimum of a $10 fee. Things like Simplex are the cheapest. Even Coinbase Commerce is very difficult to use. So we don't think it's going to be still easy to get from fiat into crypto. The dream of just adding a credit card and away you go, I don't think we're going to see in the next few years. I think there's going to be two different approaches to it. One is we're going to see more crypto merchant banks like crypto.com, Celsius, and as users, Celsius have 80,000 users. Crypto.com have, I think, 100,000 people in the ecosystem, and also Revolut is also very crypto friendly. So we will find that more people join these merchant bank solutions, these crypto bank solutions, will get on board into them, and they will get a crypto debit card, which will enable them to easily pay into cryptocurrency dApps rather than we trying to tackle that problem. And the second thing is, I think, is stable coins. In Australia, there's 3 stablecoin providers now. And I think more and more people are going to warm up to the fact that instead of keeping their cash in the bank account, which is just ones and zeros, which they may not trust, they can extract that and have it in their wallet. It's still AUD, Australian dollars, but now it's self-sovereign. So I think we're going to see more of that, and that makes it easy for us, dApp ecosystems, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we've already seen lots of Aussie dollar stable coins, and we know that people are getting paid across Europe in Make It Die already. So there's sort of these temporary solutions as well. But I think your first point about people maybe not caring about the decentralization side of things so much at first, and you've got to make your app user friendly, and then I think that'll progress later when people start to care about why it is important to be decentralized and so on. Would you agree with all that?
Yeah, I definitely agree that there needs to be a broader awakening as to why the merits of decentralization are better than what we currently have. And we should have to somewhat wait for that to happen first in order to take advantage of it, so that they will come to our platform and want to be decentralized rather than us trying to convince them to be decentralized.
Cool.
But yeah.
As far as your token progressing, you've spoken about going to the ERC 223 standard. So what's the functionality that will add for you guys?
ERC 223 allows much better token handling in smart contracts. And across into 2019, we have a number of smart contracts to roll out. Our main DAO staking contract, the voting contract, our hedging escrow contract, and also we'll have a decentralized liquidity network all powered by a smart contract. So there's a lot more smart contracts moving and talking to each other. And the issue with ERC 20 is it wasn't built with smart contracts in mind, whereas 223 was, so that when you pay into a smart contract, the smart contract knows it's being paid and can do things. So that's really important going to 2019.
Yeah, can you expand on the staking for Canya holders and maybe the thresholds, if you've got those sort of things worked out yet? Or
yeah, absolutely. So we are very fervent on the vision that this is an ecosystem and we're trying to create a economy. And part of a strong economy is strong store of value characteristics. And the best thing that creates store of value characteristics is staking mechanisms. So staking with a certain amount of currency prevents Sybil attacks, and it also creates a self-sorting problem with identifying who is most aligned with the economy. So the DAO is the most important staking contract. We, at the stage, and we've maintained the entire year, there's going to be 3 levels. There'll be a core level, and below that there will be a admin level, and below that will be a member level. Member level at the stage will be about 1,000 CAN, and once they stake in, they will access to all the micro tasks that help run the platform, curating providers, resolving category tagging. Then the next level up is the admin level, which is at the stage will be about 10,000 CAN, and it allows admins, and additionally they must be 30 days in the platform, allows admins to do more things like promoting members to admins, dispute resolution, and more advanced, more critical decision making in the DAO. And last but not is the core, which is at the stage 50,000 CAN, may be adjusted depending on our community feedback. And these are the people that want to be in the platform for the long term. So they want to manage the DNS settings. They want to help develop and manage the GitHub. They want to and being able to make decisions around core protocol numbers like the fee level, how much is paid to other DAO members, etc. That. So core decision making, which does not mean any of us need to be in there, will be at the core level. And once this is full up and running, then there is no reason for us to exist. We should be in the DAO or we should leave. And it should be self-running and self-sustaining. And that's what we hope to achieve in 2019.
So that's the long-term vision for you guys to step away once the economy is ready for it to be fully decentralized, I guess.
Yeah, that's it. There's a fair bit of funds at the moment in the DAO fund of the order of just under $1 million of value, which we want to put in. And we actually want to use a new concept that Vitalik and Glenn Whale put out about 3 months ago. You might have heard about it, liberal radicalism. And it's basically the optimal method of distributing a public good to people. So we want to put elements of liberal radicalism in the DAO to enable optimal distribution of those funds to where it's needed the most.
That's interesting. You say you've got $1 million of value in there. I think the current market cap is only like $800,000 for Canya. So,
yeah,
no comment on price, JB. Ethereum scaling. How much does that affect or help you guys going forward? Or is it not really an issue now? You're moving to your own sort of proof of stake model.
So, Ethereum scaling is a big deal for us because we've chosen to build on Ethereum, and we are beholden to the plans. Originally, we were going to see Casper in 2018, but it's unlikely to see that inside the next 18 months. And now that they moved on to Ethereum 2.0, Serenity, that's a big leap. There's no proof of work. It's 100% proof of stake. And no one really knows what it looks like yet. They speak of ending the proof of work chain and starting the proof of stake main chain. But what's the transition period? We have no idea. Is it going to be is it potentially 2 Canya coins? Who knows? Because it'll have to fork, right? Because they have something like 180,000 gigahash of mining power. Where's all that mining power going to go? Are the miners going to put up a fuss and go, nah, we're not letting you guys fork and keep Ethereum classic? Who knows? It's going to be a big change for us. We just hope that it moves in the direction that it's faster, more usable. Transactions get processed with low gas fees. That's all we hope and ask for, is that it stays censorship resistant. It processes transactions inside of 10 seconds. That's manageable, and gas fees are less than 10 cents per transaction. That's where we need to go.
Yeah, I think Ethereum Classic is going to be on life support for the next year or so, and then they're going to put all their vested interests and power in the media to do a song and dance to give it that value and say, hey, miners, come over here, we're the real Ethereum. So I think that's a very interesting story we'll continue to cover.
Yeah, I agree.
Final thoughts for people that want to know more about the Canya economy or the platform?
Yeah, 2019 is a big year for us. We're debuting a decentralized liquidity network, which will enable anyone to stake in any token, not just CAN, but ETH, BNB, any token that they want. And using a model that Vitalik suggested 2 years ago, it's called the XYK model. Basically, it pairs tokens from one side to the other, but it's completely permissionless. So stake in, stake out, earn rewards, and add liquidity to a network. So we're rolling out our own version of that, hopefully in January. We also are rolling out the DAO, the first levels of that. And then finally, one of the most interesting technologies that we've come up with is called DApp nodes. And right now we run all our, when you go to camwork.io, you're pinging one of our servers, and one of our servers are delivering you that content. But that in the future, all that content is going to be stored in IPFS and a decentralized database. So the server will simply be giving you a user experience interface, a user interface. So then we want to be able to turn our servers off, and then who's going to run the infrastructure from there? So DApp nodes essentially are economically incentivized nodes that run endpoints that serve you the interface, that serve you the IPFS gateways, that serve you the Ethereum node interfaces. And we want to incentivize people to run nodes so that when we turn our servers off next year, CanWork will continue to run. But instead of pinging our servers, you're pinging a decentralized network of servers. And that just makes the network more resilient, drive store value characteristics back into the token because you need a stake in order to be a node. You do earn a daily service reward as well. So there's the concept of block rewards as well. And we're very excited to push that. It's not really a layer 1 infrastructure level. We see it as more of the layer 2. So it's pulling together other protocols and giving it to you in a user interface way. And we actually think this may be widely adopted by the wider Ethereum community and the other dApps. So excited to see where it goes.
Awesome. So where can people go if they want to start doing some work on the CAN platform?
Camwork.io. It's better than Upwork.
I will put all the links in the description below, but thanks so much for joining us, JP. It sounds like you guys are very busy, so that's great.
Awesome. Thanks. See you again. Bye.